Jens, I would probably agree with you. Jude Bellingham is right up there in terms of the greatest players in the world today. But it's not the great players of the world today we want to talk about this evening. It's the great players of 20 years ago. Good evening. Welcome to the Super League and game week 8 of season 15. Flying solo tonight. My late limbs co-host was due to be on co-coms, but he had an early start today, and he was also playing for Sands his first 90 minutes in God knows how long. It's fair to say he's not exactly feeling match fit for Super League duty. So just Fyfie to fly through the games this evening. But good evening, one and all. It's good to be back on a Sunday night. Please keep the chat active and let me know exactly what you think to what's going on. We will jump straight into the action once we've had just a very quick reminder of the league table. 3 teams at the top on 14 and 3 points separating first from 8th. I know we're only 7 games in, but that is incredible. At the bottom, can Sloths get that elusive win? And there's still plenty to talk, plenty of movement available. Sloths potentially can get from 14th to 12th with a win. Stackington can equally jump a couple of places if results go their way as well. So lots to keep an eye on as the games roll in. Reminder of the last set of results as well before we get involved. Can see lots of people already in the chat. Great to have you all in with us. And just to confirm for Rox, no, Mr. Smuts was due. He was coming on, but he's come back from playing for Sands today a little bit less than 100%. So I'm going to fly solo. Thank you for the kind offer, but no, as a one-off, I'm fine to fly through them. You chillax and enjoy the evening. I've had one request from Vikings to go early, so I'm going to look to start with them. Here is Jens' squad without Boomer, without Baumer and Boomer, who Boomer picked up a month-long injury, so we won't be seeing him for a while. Jens will be a little bit grateful, I'm sure, that it's not one of his star players. In terms of their team for tonight is just the one change. Brozek had been playing in the AM role. He drops to the bench. Jakowiak is on in his place, starting. Everything else remains the same. Thierry Henry, 7 in 7 to start the season. Phenomenal return from him early doors. As for Stanley, they have new boy Robbie Savage available, but not in the match day squad today. They too make an alteration with Eka Davids coming back into the 11. And it was Rui Costa who drops out from the squad entirely. So game number 1 of the evening, both teams inside the top 6, both sides joint top as things stand. So a great way to kick off game number 1 of the evening. Can Stanley maintain this form that they're on of just going under the radar and picking up results, or can Vikings really make a mark on the early season form? 20 minutes in, still 0-0. It looks to me like Vikings have edged the better of the chances, but yet take the lead. Sander Westerveld continues to perform to the highest possible level. 35 now on the clock, still 0-0. Stanley venturing forward a little bit, but I would say that Vikings have edged it. No goals at the break, though. And there you go. Vikings, 8 attempts on goal, but only the 3 on target. That will disappoint Jens. 2 from 2 for Stanley, but not converted. Pass completion similar. Tackles similar. Headers similar. So on a knife edge this first game. Having a look at the Vikings ratings. We've got Ferdinand, Cafu, both on 6s, potentially due to Stanley not being the most adventurous. Emerson, perhaps needing him to be a bit more involved, although he's shooting plenty, but shooting wild. No yellow cards and no conditional issues to speak of, and Jens straight in with a stick till 60. As for Stanley, let's have a look over there. Gary Neville, the captain, on a 5. A whole host of players on 6s. Only the goalkeeper, Sander Westerveld, rating an 8. So I could just see Steve's comment on to Dan about the Unicorns tactics tonight. And Mike going as is as well. So let's resume the action of game number 1 to the 60-minute mark. And an early goal. It's Thierry Henry who makes it 8 from 8 as we get straight to the hour. What a moment this could be for Vikings. A goal straight after the break and then no action to the hour mark. Vikings were the more progressive side in the first half, if you were to look at their stats. So Jens will feel a little bit better seeing that goal go in. And again, he goes as is. No worries at all. We move over to Red Rose. Gary Neville still on a 5. Sander Westerveld's rating dropping after that goal. Still a whole host of 6s in there. Steve said, fucking hell, this seems to be the best ever. There seems to be a best ever every season. Yes, this is the best ever Thierry Henry. Is it Mido time? And Dan in the chat explaining the inner workings of Team Unicorns. Await news from Red Rose. And here is the alteration. So arrows to AM on Davids and Deisler, but no, Mido does not come on. Interesting choice. He started the other game, scored, and then got dropped again. Rather unfortunately for him. 71 now on the clock. Ekiel goes in the book. Ferdinand goes in the book. Vikings want a penalty. Ref says no. 84 on the clock. And there's Nedved to wrap it up for the home side, surely, with his first ever goal for the club. 2-0 to the home side. And they have deserved this by the look of the play to me. Full time and a deserved win for Vikings against their top of the table rivals. 2-0 to the home side. Much more expansive and deserving of the win. Kaladza picked up man of the match. Fantastic ratings throughout. Large number of 8s, a few 7s and a 9 for the man of the match. And Alf already suggesting, looks like Alf's Super League winners mug is going to Norway. I'd better check the postal charges. Ian saying solid win. Jens saying good game, Mike. He's off to bed. Mike saying he's had that come in. And Nesty as well. A quick look at the Stanley stats. Gary Neville's just had an absolute mare this evening. A few of the ratings did improve, but they just couldn't cope with the Vikings' onslaught and couldn't create enough for Maxim to really have a significant impact on the game. Match number 2, we go to Northern Burn versus Haggis, another big game. Northern Burn currently in 4th on 13 points. Haggis, one of that cluster of teams, on 11 at this point. New signing Rosu goes onto the bench. Keane is back in place of Takinadi. Montero out. Marino comes in. He doesn't want 13. As for Haggis, their new signing from out of league is not over the line yet. So they mix up their defensive midfield line. The rest remains as is from previous. Good evening, Martin, who has joined the chat and clearly missed the reason I'm sat here on my own. But yes, there is no co-coms this evening, unfortunately, due to fitness reasons as much as anything. Let's kick off game number 2. Fascinating game this, huge game this, and of course a repeat of last season's grand final. And here's Mr. Edwards, I can see in the chat, just in time for the Burn game. Great timing. 20 minutes, no goals yet. Buffon with a big save. Again, it looks like the home side have just edged this, but Haggis look dangerous when they come forward. But there's Totti on 28 minutes to give the home side the lead. Haggis tried to come forward, but Burn finished the half strongest and take a 1-0 lead. Fairly even looking at the stats. Shot count similar. They've both got 100% on target. Only the one converted. Burn will be very disappointed with 38% tackle completion. I mean, 57 isn't massive from Haggis either, but just only completing 38% of tackles. Very, very poor indeed. Looking at the ratings, Marino not excelling when given the opportunity. Fiore, Scholes, Ortega, all average. No one outfield for Burn rating higher than a 7. Buffon, with his couple of saves, is on an 8. And Ian saying as is. Alf suggesting there's some buffering, but Steve saying must be his end. I haven't got any warnings to say that I've got a signal issue, but please do let me know, even into Dimble. Looking at the Haggis stats, Saeed on a booking, lots of 6s in there as well. And also spotting there Gomez, 81%, perhaps a consideration. And Steve asking, is Comandini for Marino my best transfer ever? You have had some stinkers, to be fair, Steve, so it must be up there. I hope it doesn't happen during my match. Me too, Alf. Me too. Just wait to see if Ian wants to do anything, because I know I have seen him in the chat. Haggis famed for swapping their strikers at half-time, but this time it's swapping the DMs around. So that is what we shall do. So we've resumed the action. Oh, Van Nistelrooy misses a great chance there for the away side, and another one wasted as we pause. Bern just building the momentum back up in their favour, but Haggis have certainly had an attempt or two that on another night they may well have converted. Ratings look very similar to half-time for Bern. Skulls dropping to 79%. On the, where are we, 64, 65 minute mark as well. Could we see a debut for the newest Super League signing? Or will we get the traditional as is from Mr. Edwards? And there it is. It is the traditional as is. Steve wanting to see some new blood, but it's not going to happen at this juncture. As for Haggis, still a few sixes dotted around, mostly sevens. The goalkeeper, the only one on an 8. Gomez now on 78%, and still just the one yellow card for Said. Could Carlos Shax come on and make an impact again as he did in the last game? We will soon see if he is coming on. But you feel Haggis have to do something here. I know it will still be early days, but we'll be, what, a third of the way through the season, more or less? And they don't want too big a gap between them and the top 6. And here are the changes for Haggis. Let's say for Shax, for Robert. Swap with Pires. No worries. Thank you very much. See if those alterations can get Haggis back in the game. 73 now, still just the one goal in it. Haggis do look more involved. The later we get in, the more you feel they might get something. Keane goes in the book. 82 on the clock, and Bern fire one over the bar. Throw in Duff, Montella. And it's cleared. Haggis avoid the pressure on the counter. And here they come again. Del Vecchio. It's gathered up again. Fiore goes into the book. Vieri to take the free kick, but Buffon collects it. Into stoppage time. One last chance maybe for the away side. Shax, Vieri, Pires puts it into orbit. And that is all she wrote. Northern Bern coming away with a 1-0 win. And just look at that, very, very poor. They haven't really challenged a goalkeeper there. 8 attempts on goal, Haggis, which is very good against this Northern Bern side, but only the 2 on target. That tackle percentage from both, I would still say a little bit of a worry. Mike Duff, I believe that's successive man of the matches for him now. Fiore on the other end of the scale, rating just a 5. And there's Mr. Edwards with the routine stuff in ode to Ian in the last game week. The subs played well for Haggis, but were unable to affect the scoreline. Not an awful performance, needed a bit more, particularly from the likes of Van Nistelrooy. Not an awful performance, but just not good enough when you're away to a team with the talent of Northern Bern. Next, it's Sloths versus Sancte. Sancte have been busy in the window of late. 3 new players have come in within 7 days of each other, including what maybe not so much this season in terms of averages and performances, But somehow when I got notification of the double transfer with Fulchester, I just asked Duggan how he'd done it again, because it was one of the worst looking transfers I'd seen, with the double swoop back and Gerrard in at Sancte, Wellens and Constantinou going to Fulchester. Here is the tactic that they are going with, version 3 of season 15. Ronaldinho and back supporting Inzaghi. Finnan playing on the left-hand side with Gerrard on the right, and Brasini, Petit and Dai in the holding midfield roles. And Duggan suggesting that the narrow might do him over, that Sloths are playing. Duggan, 30 seconds if you have any particular number requests. I didn't see anything in the file, but just in case. He's good to go. No worries. As for Sloths, they have Tim in, but he's not in the matchday squad. They have their internationals back, but Figo is injured and therefore not available to be included. So he's been dropped down to level the squad at 24 again. But here is the narrow that Duggan was talking about. Baronio comes up from the reserves, as does Collins, as Alf looks to move stuff around and hope something sticks. Strong bank of frees in the MC and AM areas. And Mpenza playing as the lone striker. Whether the defensive unit is strong enough, I'm not so sure. Personally, and Tato saying Duggan needs no extra help this season either, while commenting on the new players in at Sancte. Oh, wrong one. And of course, Martin now apparently on the coaching staff at Sloths. Let's see how the narrow does against the refreshed Sancte. And the away side started very quickly. But Sloths playing their way into it early doors. And they take the lead through David Collins. Oh, it sort of ruled out. What a moment that could have been for Sloths. And maybe that'll wake up their visitors to the dangers that they face in this game from the team at the bottom of the table. Campbell goes in the book. Ronaldinho, I believe that goes in the book as well. To be fair, Sloths very much in this game and piling the pressure on their visitors. Adilson misses one, and Mpenza looks like he missed one there as well. Are Sloths going to rue these missed opportunities? Another yellow card dished out. Fair few yellows seem to have gone out. Inzaghi, though, with a great chance for the away side, who have been under significant pressure. Half-time, 0-0. Sloths 8 attempts on goal, 4 on target. Just 3 attempts for the away side, 2 on target. Ian Edwards saying, got Stephen Hendry on mute and Fyfie on volume. Crazy scenes. Sloths have been impressive in all areas except maybe aerially. 4 yellow cards, all dished out to the away side as well. Let's have a look at the Sloth stats. 7s throughout, a couple of 6s in there as well for Jonsson, Zidane and Baronio. Zidane very, very heavily involved in everything Sloths have done there. Duggan saying havoc with the yellows. And Tato saying narrow creates many, many chances. And we've got some love for the lineup from Alf as well. While we wait to hear what Sloths wants to do, let's have a look at Sancte. So it was yellows for Finnan, Campbell, Petit and Ronaldinho. Alf going as is, while suggesting that his side are bound to concede. It happens to bottom teams. The away side have actually got 8s within their ranks, Ambrosini and Petit. Khan as well for a few saves. So interesting to see if they... Tato, that's normally why they're bottom, to be fair, Alf. And Duggan making a couple of tactical alterations. Can we take arrows off the 2 DMs? You certainly can. And the AMCs? No worries. Hagen for Petit. We know Duggan doesn't like too many yellows in his team. He does worry about the discipline. So there we go. Even to Swanee, who has joined the chat as we kick off the second half of Sloths versus Sancte. And there's David Collins. He gets the goal this time. And this time it counts. And Enrique has doubled the lead. Absolute scenes here at Sloths. Quick fire double. And Sancte are under all sorts of pressure now. Sloths 2 to the good. And are they about to get their first win of the season? The ratings have significantly improved. Adilson now on a 9, a whole host of 8s. Duggan reacted to those 2 goals. Suggesting absolute banana skin. Alf, unsurprisingly, going as is. And we know Ball has got a fair amount of love for Luis Enrique. He has mentioned it before. Now, Sancte, what do they do? Ratings still look okay in part, but the result very much going against them. They have added a yellow card as well. I believe it's Gerard's that is new. No conditional issues as such. Reyes, the only really attacking option on the bench. Interesting to see what Duggan does here. And here is the move. So we've got Push and Dai and Ambro into the middle. No arrows. Reyes for Finnan and done. No problem at all. Reyes for Finnan. And they're both in the middle. Lovely. Let's see if Sancte can get themselves back in this. That midfield is very, very crowded now. Another yellow card handed out. And Penza scores. It's 3 for Sloths. And Sancte are falling apart in game week 8. They could not cope with the narrow. And has Al found the formula to rescue Sloth's season? Oh my shit indeed, Mr. Savage. And the game finishes 3-0 to the home side, dominating their higher in the table opposition. As we can see the comments flooding in. And Duggan, hats off to you, Alf Martin, absolutely schooled there. Alf praising Martin for that result. Ian saying unbelievable. Tato, right, get Duggan some more transfers. His Caesar's going the opposite way this time. And Dimble saying that wily old fox. And Ian referring to them as mouth. Adilson picks up man of the match. Alephropoulos as well, rating a 9. A whole host of 8s, with only Baronio rating below a 7 for the home team. As for Sancte, it was just a little bit average. Alpha asking if Figo could get into the team. We will find out in the next game week. And the Swan says Season 4 Alf activated. Not awful ratings for Sancte, just not enough on the night, unfortunately, for Duggan. As I believe my cat's just fallen off the radiator. And Ian pointing out Zidane had the ball all game. Yes, everything went through Zidane. Next we go. Massive game. One I'm really looking forward to. Badgers versus Coast. Badgers who, before we even look at the 11, which sees their debutante come straight in to the team, have arguably named the most attacking bench in Super League history. And I love it. Superb. And Doug is saying that narrow will do damage. So many players flooding that DM line. Again, Tato, if you want a number, I'll give you 30 seconds. Just want to have a drink. He's not asked. Lovely. As for Coast, they're still about to say Elias. Ferguson returns. Bishgan comes into the team on the bench, while I want to say there was another change possibly. No, not to theirs. It was just Ferguson coming back in. But their out-of-league signing also potentially making the debut tonight as he makes the bench. Coast have already... of course, Dimble, if you want any numbers, I'll offer you the same luxury. He's already seen Vikings beat Stanley tonight, so he knows the situation at the top of the table. So it will be interesting how they play this one. He's also happy with random. Kick off Badgers versus Coast. Yellow card handed out nice and early. And there's the goal for Saviola on 11 minutes. To open the scoring for the home side. Looking to double their advantage now. Oh, there was a good chance for the away team. And there's Kowalczyk. Oh, Stanic was offside. It's been ruled out. Ian suggesting if East Coast win this, then they are the real deal. Well, they're not winning at the moment. They're not even drawing. Saviola misses a great opportunity just on a stroke of half-time, but the home side do go in 1 goal up at the break. If not, then the league is wide open. Fairly even. Badgers scoring with their only attempt on target, quite wasteful in front of goal. Only 20% success rate, 75% success rate from East Coast, but not managing to convert any of those chances. With the exception of headers, Badgers shading the passing and tackling stats. Okoronkwo, the only player in the book for the home side. You've got Klompe there rating a 9. At the other end of the scale, the debutant, Basia rating a 6. Everyone else on a 7 or 8. And nobody below 93% fitness. As for Coast, Uliano, a rare 5 for him. Whole host of 6s, most worryingly in the attacking portion for Coast. Stanic, Hussein and Shevchenko. No yellow cards there. And again, nobody below 93%. Tater going as is and suggesting the new signing doing bits. Interesting to see what Dimble does. And he's also going no change yet. So we resume the action. Oh, shit. And get to 60 with virtually nothing happening, thankfully, as I forgot to click the other screen. So let's see if anything's changed from the manager's perspectives here. 63, I believe it was, on the clock as I managed to pause it for the tactical break. And literally nothing happened at all. We've got Basia off for Larson. Is the word from Tater. As for Coast, Uliano is still on that 5. Still a whole range of 6s there. Just not typical Coast performance this at all, which probably is as much to do with how good the Badgers are playing. And here come the changes from Dimble. So we've got Kowalczyk up to MC. 2-1, 4-1-2, and a double change, which includes a debut. So Viduka for Hussein, Stanic, and there we go. Lovely. Let's see if Dimble can get his side back in the game with those changes. Badger's still the better side, look to me here in the text. Coast just not able to really build. 4 minutes being added on. And here comes Viduka. Stam picks it up. Michelini, Kvelchuk, Kill over the bar. And Giggs causing chaos. Simeone goes down. Free kick awarded. Giggs to take it. We're into injury time. And there's the final whistle. And Badgers pick up the win. It was a very even game. But Badgers, courtesy of that one goal, poor finishing from both sides. It could have been more from both, really. But on the day, it was enough. Ryan Giggs there, who we saw causing chaos towards the end, picking up man of the match for the home side. As for Coast, Duncan's saying huge win for the Badgers, that. As for Coast, it just wasn't their night, and sometimes you have those games. It wasn't a terrible performance by them. It was just average, whereas Badgers shaded it. So I don't think Dimble will be too upset, but not ideal. Exactly, yeah. Dimble makes a great point. Played shit and still had a sniff. Next up, we go to Fulchester versus LSK. Constantinou on the bench. Other new signing, Wellens, starts. Robin and Ronaldo behind a returning and fit again Crespo, as Maka looks to pack that midfield. And he's got Beckham and Serginho on the wings. Interesting to see how this works, because Ronaldo's had a decent season, but he's been playing most of it up front. So can he and Robin supply Crespo? And Doug is saying perfect time. Sorry, Maka saying perfect time. Just about to go to sleep. Lovely. Do you have a particular captain you want there, Maka? And any squad numbers for these players, as Vialli also comes in for his first outing of the season. Default everything, lovely, will do. Duncan's saying, I'm here for Wellens, going to boss it 50 plus passes. As for LSK, they just make one change for Silyuk starting in place of Tristan. Everything else remains the same. Brave to play one at the back away from home. Let's see how this plays out. Wellens involved nice and early for the new team, but Vasilyuk scores his first of the season on 8 minutes to give LSK a much-needed lead, given the Sloth's result earlier. Kasika, Tuso, Ronaldo, all getting involved, but not really creating that much just at this moment in time. Serginho and Beckham both trying to deliver from the wings. It's very blue and white, the text now. Crespo wasting a couple of opportunities. We're going to go in level at the break. Is there a goal coming? Seeing all the names Maka want to see, but just not that flashing goal text as we go into the break with the away side 1-0 up. And Maka already saying, good game, Jamie. Well done. Match stats, 10 attempts from the home side, only 4 on target. So much wayward striking this evening from loads of teams. LSK scoring with their only shot on target. 80% tackle success rate from Fulchester. Winning most stuff in the air as well. Everything except that goal returns column looking good for the home side. Yellow cards for Viali and Wellens. Lots of sixes throughout, with only Tudor rating an 8. Nobody below 91% fitness. Lee Bowyer, the only player for the away team on a booking. Again, they only have 1 8, and that's for Captain Barthez. Everyone else 6s and 7s, but nothing really of conditional note. Pablo Aymar on 89, the lowest. See what even manager does here. And we are going to see another debut as Constantinou comes on for Crespo at half time. Aymar, not quite as effective, but doing a very similar job to what we saw Sedan do earlier for Sloths, where most things seem to be going through him. And then we have changes for Jamie. So we've got Del Piero off for Guerrero. And move Guerrero into MC like that. And Jamie saying that's it. So no mention of an arrow, so we will go without. So Guerrero, Del Piero, central midfield. And we resume the action to 60. And Bowyer's gone. Bowyer has gone to a red card just before the tactical break as well. So, Maka, you can make changes here if you so wish to counteract the red card. Jamie gets first alteration to see what he wants to do. Maka has already responded. So we're going to see Ronaldo go in as a top 2. And then Robin central with the arrow. No worries. We can do that. Will that play into James' hands as to what he wants to do next? They are defending that lead, remember. Now that they may be a goal up, but they are a man down. No changes, says Jamie, but he's just centralising the MCs. He is backing this team to get the job done. It's a yellow for Didier Gat. And Ronaldo scores to level things up. And we pause for the tactical break now. 1 apiece. Ronaldo's good season continues. Mac is saying better stats-wise performance from us, but just not clicking as per. Well, maybe that goal will be a season changer for Fulchester. 3 players on a yellow, no real conditional issues. And now with the man advantage and level pegging, Maka must be thinking that this is their chance to pick up a valuable 3 points. And he says roll, no worries. As for LSK, look at Barthez, still rating a 9. Very, very difficult man to pass this season. Absolutely no conditional problems there at all. So what does Jamie do? Does he go for broke or does he try to hold on to the point? It'd be interesting to see how he reacts to that goal just before the substitutions. And he's going for it. So Lazan's off for Tristan. 3 up top. Like that. Just wait for confirmation from Jamie. That's how he wants it. I've taken the assumption he wanted Broncos centralising, and there's the confirmation. Lovely. So let's see how this pays off. And Gattuso scores his first ever goal for Fulchester. Tristan misses one. And to be fair to LSK, they're piling the pressure on looking for their equaliser now, because Stantonou's unlucky to miss. Van Bronckhorst, throw into the home side. 3 minutes being added on. They lead by 1. We're into injury time. Gattuso, Beckham, Constantinou, Ronaldo, Serginho. Oh, has he missed Robin? Barthez with a double save. But Fulchester do get the points. Man advantage counted in the end, and they win 2-1. Ronaldo and Gattuso getting the win for them. So many opportunities. And good night to Maka, who sees his side go with a win. Big win for Fulchester, that, says Ian. Solid performances all round. Constantinou, decent debut, second half sub, but only the one shot. So he'll be looking for much more. Fabio Barthez picks up his umpteenth Man of the Match award of the season. Another stellar performance from him. The man disadvantage really working against LSK there tonight. 2 games left, and we go to Stackington versus Exiles. Exiles, who are still without Anelka. He's slowly getting there. Minild also unavailable. Consecal comes in. No, that's not right. I've put them the wrong way around. Yes, that's right. He's called up after his exploits for Australia and comes into the lineup. Zambrotta playing on the left-hand side. Raul and Zaha playing as a front 2 with the outward arrows. As for Stackington, they are without D'Alessandro. They line up as this. Mendieta takes the armband off Sami Hyypiä. And they are playing with that middle DM with the arrow, which was actually an Exiles thing to do last season. Let's see how the penultimate game of the evening goes. Stackington hosting Exiles in their Devil's Tribute kit. And there was Veron. It looks like Stackington has seen plenty of the ball. Exiles arguably created a little bit more, although Stackington just looked like they were building ahead of steam. Amoroso going off injured. Kesman, the likely change here, I would say, like for like, just before half time. Just waiting confirmation. Yeah, Kesman. And then going as is till 60, not even looking at half-time alterations. First time this season, I believe, that Casillas has played back-to-back games. And we get to half-time. This is not a classic by any stretch of the imagination. Only 3 attempts between the two sides, both having 1 on target. Ross already said nothing changing until 60, so just a quick look at his stats there. And indeed, Mr. Entertaining Football is arguably becoming the most boring team in Super League history to watch, despite his maverick tactics. Santos on a yellow. Everyone ranging between 6 and 8. And yeah, Ian saying they're boring Exiles. So we've got Veron and Santos swap. Arrows on Veron and Cambiasso. Wait. Right, hang on. Because then we've got Veron for Cambiasso and otherwise the same. So we're saying Veron for Cambiasso. Arrows on Veron are now Santos. And then, wait. But why have you put arrows on him if you're going to move him? I don't understand. So like that. And then, right, okay. No. Right, so undo. So we're going like that. And then like that. Is that what we're saying? We need some transfers again. Rox needs his boys back. Surely you've all had enough transfers by now. I mean, that's most of you have had 8. Right, Rox saying that's it. Lovely, thank you. Stackington's still very much in this, it looks to me. CS with the save as we get to the hour mark. Let's see. They've coped well with the Exiles tactical alteration. So interested to see what Ross does here. Does he believe in this team or does he alter something else? I mean, can't Seedorf come on, do a job? Does he replace Rosicky maybe? Tato, you're really bringing the chaos, aren't you, Rox? Your games are riveting. Stackington go as is. As for Exiles, Batistuta and Santos both on yellows. Hashtag bring the beige. Additional wise, nothing there of any real note or concern. Ratings wise, it's okay. A couple of 8s, mostly 7s. What does Rox do here? Vincente on the bench. I would imagine he will probably put the 2 DMs into CM in the name of entertainment. Just go 4 up top. A 1-1-4-4 formation. Right, so swap Tomazi and Santos, then swap Nesta with Santos. Santos off Vincente. Vincente left AMC next to Kutuzov. I'm presuming like this. Just wait confirmation. Yeah, he is happy with that. Let's see if that does anything to improve the Exiles' chances of victory here and maybe get a couple of goals. Stackington playing against 0 defenders, but are they going to get caught offside now? We heading towards injury time. Still 0-0. Morientes puts it wide. Ayala, Rosicky, Kesman. Cole. And it's gone out of play. Kesman. Morientes, but he puts it wide. And the final whistle goes. I have a feeling I might have got that in Swanee Super 7, actually. Stackington 0, Exiles 0. Exiles just cannot score and they cannot concede. It is absolutely ridiculous. A draw, probably a fair result, looking at the stats there. Rock's asking how he's keeping a clean sheet. Casillas picks up man of the match. Ayala also had a fantastic performance, as did skipper Mendieta. Are you not entertained? Asks Ross. When is Anelka fit? I cannot remember specifically, but I believe your pack said 2 weeks. So he will be back soon. And soon cannot come quick enough with Zaha and Raul and Kutuzov and Batistuta all failing to hit the net. We approach the hour mark and we get to the final game. Smuts hasn't been in the chat. I believe he's in bed. I've not seen Dan around, but he did say Dan can do the subs if he's around. Otherwise, just hook anyone on a 5, I think was the message. I'll double check that in a second. But first, we look at the home team, who make one alteration. Decor comes in for Vogel. Everything else remains the same. As for Foss Road, they've decided they don't want the full quota of first team players at this time. They want some players to get some reserve team football. So they've dropped a couple down. Coelme continues to be injured. We go back to the Unicorns Gazelles formation, but altered with Smuts' choice of players, which of course means Enzo Maresca is playing that central pivotal role. Alex potentially making his debut from the bench. Don't want 13, don't want 24, so I'm going to avoid any danger. Give Alex 50. Final game of the night then, Dudley Hill versus Foss Road. And while the first half plays out, as Joe Cole opens the scoring on 8 minutes, I will double check the message from Foss HQ. And there's an equaliser from Patrick Cliver. If Dan's about, let him take charge. If not, anyone on a 5, bin off like for like. No worries. Comandini there with the latest chance as we approach half-time. There's a yellow card handed out. And at the break, we are level pegging again. Not a classic. Every shot on target has gone into the net. Dudley Hill. A couple of 6s. Dede is there on an 8, as is the goal scorer, Joe Cole. 4 yellow cards for them in that first half. And looking at the conditions, everyone above 90 other than Malevsky on 86. Foss Road, there is a 5 for Dalmat, so I will replace him like for like as requested. Suppose Alex. He's left only, so I'll leave him on the left. Just wait to see if Dan is around to counteract that, but that is the message from Smuts if he's not. And Stee is going as is. We resume the second half. And Foss Road, it is a debut goal for Alex. The away side now have the lead. Foss Road, who never, ever win away from home, are now leading. And there is Dan saying that's good. Thank you. So now Dudley Hill find themselves behind. Was that Abiati on a 5? Very, very unusual condition-wise here. Dan is going as is. Lovely, thank you. As I'll just wait for Steve as I confirm a booking for Fools Rush In tomorrow. And here are the Dudley Hill changes. So we've got Tony coming on for Comandini. Remember, that's Comandini, who Steve said was his greatest ever transfer. Hersey for Decor. Hersey left AMC like this. So, and then like that. I believe that is how Steve wants to play out this game. Double change to try and get themselves back into this. Lovely. Thank you, Steve. So 25 minutes to go of the final game of the night. Can Dudley Hill get themselves back into this? Foss Road and it's Enzo Maresca. And have they won away from home? Absolute scenes if Foss Road do this. Hoffland gets a talking to. 80 now on the clock. Are Dudley Hill going to make a game of it? $87 now. And another chance goes wide into injury time. And there's the final whistle. Foss Road win away from home. And Dudley Hill, well, it just was not their night at all, was it? Look at that. Both teams only with a 50% success rate in terms of shots to shots on target. But Foss Road will be absolutely delighted. When Smuts sees this in the morning, he is going to be buzzing. And there's Ian saying, now that's a big result. And Steve says, Smuts can't win an away game on his own, the GIMP. Well done to Dan. Indeed. Dan the Maverick. Look at Abiati, just did not have a good game tonight, did he? And Dan's saying he wanted to start Alex, who came off the bench to score on his debut. Joe Cole, it was picking up man of the match. And yeah, that change bringing on Alex for Dalmat, making a big change in the way this game playing out. Nick Matulin not having a great game, but he didn't cost his side the way the Dudley Hill keeper did. That brings us to our classified results for game week 8. Badgers 1, East Coast 0, Dudley Hill 1, Foss Road 3, Fulchester 2, Los Santos 1, Northern Burn 1, Haggis 0, Sloths 3, Sancte 0, Stackington 0, Exiles 0, Vikings 2, Stanley 0. Leaves the league table looking like this. Vikings top 17 points, Burn 16, Badgers 15, and then the top 6 is made up of Foss Road, East Coast, and Stanley, all on 14. There's then a 3-point gap to Dudley Hill and Haggis in 7 and 8. A further point back, Fulchester and Sancte on 10. Exiles 11th on 9. Then we've got Los Santos 12 on 5. Sloths 13, 5. Stackington now bottom on 5, courtesy of goal difference. Tato would like to see the home and away tables. So Foss Road and East Coast top the home tables. They, as well as Stanley down in 7th, who have played a game fewer, yet to lose at home. Away table. Oh, hang on. Let's go back to the home table. Sloths, bottom of that particular table. But 4 of their 5 points have come away from home. LSK and Stackington, all of their points coming at home. If we just look at that away record, yeah, they are bottom. Vikings, the only side yet to lose away from home, winning 3 of their 4 games. Thursday night, the fixtures: Badgers versus Foss, Exiles versus Haggis, Burn versus Dudley, Sloths Fulchester, Stackington LSK, Stanley Sancte, and Vikings East Coast. And a quick look at the player stats for you. Mike Duff and Fabian Barthez currently lead the way on average ratings. Thierry Henry leads the race for the Golden Boot. Yeah, I saw the rankings glitch as well. As for assists, Joe Cole and David Beckham both on 4. Disciplinary, Montero tops yellows with 5. Casillas tops reds on 2. Man of the Match awards, Barthez and Duff both on 4. Pass completion, Malevsky of Dudley Hill, 87% out on his own at the top. Tackles per game, Montero of Burn with a solid 8.0 average. Dribbles per game, Cafu of Vikings, 4.5. And shots on target percentage goes to Archie Back, 92%. Team stats, games without losing. Vikings on 7, Foss Road 6 without defeat. Should people be paying attention to Smuts and Dan? Games without winning. Exiles and Stackington both on 6. And LSK there on 5. So the 3 new managers really struggling to get victories over the line. Is it that lack of Super League know-how, or is it just extenuating circumstances which sees them unlucky in certain fixtures? Packs will likely be done tomorrow and sent around. And if you would like to be on comms, do give me a shout. But other than that, thank you for joining me for the last hour or so. It's been an absolute pleasure to host what's been an entertaining, despite 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 14 teams failing to score today. It's been an entertaining hour or so, and that is game week 8 in the record books. So from Super League HQ, goodbye.